We are taking chapter number 1 on equality. So, equality, first of all, there is a story. On election day, this is a line. People are standing, whether it may be teacher, trader, student, domestic worker, and these domestic worker were talking. Isn't it good, Suja, that we can all vote as equal citizens of our country? Even Jan Sahib, who is the person where the domestic worker works, is standing in the line with us. Go on, Kanta, it's your turn now. Now, Kanta says, I will vote for the candidate who has promised to bring pipe water to our area. India is a democracy. India is a democratic country. We knew the key elements of democratic government previously, which includes people participation, resolution of conflict, and equality and justice. So equality is the key feature of democracy, and it influences all aspects of its functioning. So what is equality in these terms? Why it is important? Or whether or not everyone is equal in India? We'll talk about with some, story or real, you can say, a pictorial representation of certain scenarios we all see in our lives. So this is the line I was talking about. There is artisan, housewife, consultant, government officer, media person, unemployed also, and Indian industrialist. So after that, now Sahib is leaving and she greeted him. She said that Gudiya has been running fever. Her daughter. She has to take her to the hospital, but I will have to finish the work at Sahib's house first and then ask for some amount, that is advance. Now she comes back to the house. She says to her ailing daughter, here, have some of this, you'll feel better. And when I come back, or when I get back in the evening, I'll take you to the hospital. Okay? Now here, the place where Kanta lives, no wonder why Gudiya falls ill so often. The basti, the place where she lives, is never cleaned. After that, she went to work at Sahib's house. The woman is saying, make sure to do the corners properly. Here's your advance because she asked for it. But don't make a habit. No, madam. And then in the evening, just few more minutes, Beti. The Beti is crying. She is not well. Jan madam and Jan Sahib may stand in line to vote like Kanta, but they never had to do it while their children are sick. So equal right to vote. The story, what we saw, begins with Kanta standing in a line, in a queue to cast her vote. There are different people in the line, and Kanta also recognized her employer Ashok Jain and the neighbor Chote Lal. So in a democratic country like ours, all adults, irrespective of the religion they have or the education they have, what caste they are, rich or poor, they are allowed to vote. So what we saw previously, this is called as universal adult franchise, essential aspect of all democracies. Now this idea of universal adult franchise is based on equality, that from wherever or whichever background anyone comes, one has to vote or one can vote. Kanta in the morning, she was excited to vote and happy to cast a vote. She is equal to all the others because each one of them has just one vote. But as the day goes on, Kanta became somewhat uncertain about the equality she was thinking about. So, what makes her unsure? She lives in a slum, has a drain behind her house. Her daughter is sick, but she cannot take day off from work. And then she has to borrow money from her employers to take her child to the doctor. Her job as a domestic help is tiresome. And finally, at the end of the day, she is standing in a queue. And this line she is standing is in government hospital. Unlike those people, those rich people who don't need to stand in line. There are other kinds of equality. Kanta is just an example of one of the people who live in democratic country, India like us, and who has the right to vote, but whose daily living and working conditions are far from equal. Apart from this, being poor, there are discrimination, there are inequality. So we shall try to sum up them in the form of stories. Real life incidents are there. And this actually reflect the inequalities other from what we have seen. Caste system, inequality in the form of caste system. If you are in rural India, at very young age, you will understand the caste system. But if you are in urban India, you might think that people no longer believe in caste and creeds. But if you see the matrimonials ad, these are matrimonial ad in leading newspaper, you will understand that even in the minds of highly educated urban Indians, this caste, creed, and the discrimination against various, you can say, stream of the society still exist. Just see, Tamil Brahmin, Iyengar, groom, this bond. Now she or he, here she and he both are there. They want exactly the same growth, the same caste, and in the caste they want same subcaste like this. Dalit, there is a child, Dalit, we are trying to know about the experiences he had. Dalit is a term that the so-called lower caste used to address themselves. Dalit means broken, and by using this word, lower caste are pointing to how they were and till today seriously discriminated against. Om Prakash Valmiki is a famous Dalit writer who wrote in his autobiography Juthan. He mentioned that I had to sit away from others in the class, that too on a floor, because the mat ran out before reaching the spot I sat on. And right near to the door he has to sit. And sometimes they would beat Valmiki without any reason. When he was in class 4, headmaster asked Om Prakash Valmiki to sweep the school and playground. He writes, the playground was way larger than my small physique could handle, and his back started aching. His face was covered with dust, and dust even went inside his mouth. So this is the Juthan or Dalit Life by Om Prakash Valmiki. This is the cover of Om Prakash Valmiki book, where he shares about the experiences he faced while growing up as a Dalit boy. The others, like the children and other teachers, they were just watching. He was not allowed to drink water, and everyone was watching, and he was made to sweep the school for next couple of days until his father witnessed. He was passing by. He saw his son sweeping. He confronted the teachers, and then he said while walking away, loudly so that all could hear, "You are a teacher, so I am leaving now. But remember this much. He," means Valmiki, "will study right here in this school, and not just him, but there will be more coming after him." Then there is another story of incident, normally of Indian larger cities. This is a common practice. Story about Mr. and Mrs. Ansari. Now they want to take an apartment on rent. So they had money, so they don't have any problem in paying the rent. They went to a property dealer and they went here and there. And one place, the owner accepted them. Okay, this is the rent, etc. They showed the house. But as the Ansaris said that they are Ansaris, means the time they uttered that they are from different community or different from that owner, he started making excuse. Then finally property dealer said, "Why don't you change your name to Mr. and Mrs. Kumar?" Ansaris, they were reluctant. They decided, no, we can't change our name. But after months and months of looking for apartments, they finally got a place on rent. Dignity. Recognizing the dignity. So what we have understood, that the caste you are born into, the religion we practice, the class background we come from, whether you are male or female, there are often things that determine why some people are treated unequally. Valmiki and Ansaris, they were treated unequally on the basis of caste and religion. So when persons are treated unequally, their dignity is violated. The dignity of both these, the way they were treated, by picking on them, making Valmiki to sweep, and Ansaris not given the apartment just because they are Ansaris from a minority community, Muslim community. And moreover, the property dealer told them to change the name. So Om Prakash and Ansaris, they do not deserve to be treated like this. They deserve the same respect and honor and dignity everyone else has. Now here is a picture. This is from a very famous, very hit, highest grosser that time picture, who made the fortune of today's icon Amitabh Bachchan. In 1975, film Diwar, a boy who works as a shoe shine refuses to pick up a coin thrown at him. He said, "Sahab, मैं फेंके हुए पैसे नहीं उठाता." He feels that there is dignity in the work, because whatever you do, you are doing it just to earn livelihood. No work is small, no work is big. He feels that there is dignity in the work that he does, and he insists that his fee should be given respectfully and with honor. Equality in Indian democracy. We have a Bible, we have a Gita in our country that is called Indian Constitution. It recognizes every person as equal, whether it is from any gender, male, female, religion, tribe, caste, educational or economic backgrounds. They are recognized as equal under the democracy, under this constitution. There is no one unequal. Now, previously when the law was not there, there needs to be a lot of discrimination, ill treatment. But because we have law, this thing has reduced. This is the parliament. This is the cornerstone of our democracy. And we are represented in this building or this place through our elected representatives. They make laws for us. They take care that from where they are selected, and they put and push these concerns while making the laws. So the recognition of equality includes some of the following provisions in the Constitution. First, that every person is equal before the law, whether it is a president of a country or Kanta, domestic worker. They have to obey the same law. Second, no person can be discriminated against the basis of their religion, race, caste, place of birth, whether they are male or female. And thirdly, every person has equal right, equal access to all public places, playground, hotel, shop and markets. And all person can use publicly available wells, road and bathing ghats. And finally, untouchability, achut, asprishyata has been abolished. So how do government achieve this? There are two ways. First, they have implemented the equality that is guaranteed in the constitution through laws, and second, through various schemes, government programs to help the communities which are disadvantaged, like the minorities, Muslims, Dalits. There are several laws in India that protect every person's right to be treated equally. And in addition to these laws, as I said, government has floated various schemes in order to uplift these communities. One of the steps taken by the government, for example, is midday meal scheme. This is a picture of child being served or children being served their midday meal or food, lunch at a government school in Uttarakhand. So what it means is, this program introduced in all government elementary school to provide children with cooked lunch. Tamil Nadu was the first state in India to introduce this scheme in 2001. Then Supreme Court ordered other government to do it well before 6 months. And this scheme has positive effect. First is poor children. They started enrolling more and regularly attending the school. And those children who go to school for lunch, they would not return. Now they are in the school. The mothers of these children who used to come from their work and feed their children, these women, they don't no longer have this problem, you can say, of coming back, earning also and feeding them. And also this program has helped reduce the caste prejudice, because both lower and upper caste children, they eat together, and Dalit women are employed as the cook. This is how this midday meal program helps reduce the hunger of poor students who often come to school and cannot concentrate because they are empty stomach. So while the government actually plays important role in increasing quality of opportunity, there is still things are required to be done. And as we just said that how this has benefited midday meal, there are other things also which needs to be done so that the discrimination against the Ansaris and the Valmiki is not forced upon. The dignity is maintained. They are well respected. But there is, people have attitudes, the things which they learn in their house. So this will go slowly. The discrimination will go slowly. We have to work on it, and slowly we are getting rid of this. Here is B.R. Ambedkar quotes about the self-respect, what he felt, and he felt low that still the things are going on in the present community. He is the architect of the Indian Constitution. But there are issues of equality in other democracies also. We can, criticize our society, our government, but it's not the case. We need to take the responsibility. We are also the people who live in this. We make the society. So it should be in our mind that we should treat everyone, whether he is a lower community, a Dalit or a Muslim or any caste or community who is being deprived. So India is not that country. Only in United States of America, the Afro-Americans whose ancestors were the slaves brought from Africa, they continue to describe their lives today as largely unequal. This, despite the fact that there was a movement in the late 1950s to push for equal rights for Afro-American. Prior to this, African Americans were treated extremely unequally in US and denied equality through law. For instance, when traveling by bus, they either had to sit at the back of the bus or get up whenever there is a white person who wants to sit. Rosa Parks was an African American woman. Tired from a long day, she actually refused to give a seat to a bus to a white on 1st December 1955. And her refusal that day, it started a huge agitation against the unequal ways in which the Afro-Americans were treated. And this was known as Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, religion, and national origin. And now they are getting equal rights, but still there is a way to go ahead. And our politicians, they add the salt and pepper between dividing the community and just in order to get vote. So this is Rosa Parks, an Afro-American woman who changed the course of American history with one defiant act. So these are the excerpt of Article 15 of the Indian Constitution. Prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. So the state, what is written here is, the state shall not discriminate against any citizen on ground only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. No citizen shall on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them be subjected to any disability, liability, restriction, or condition with regard to access to shop, public restaurant, the hotel's place of public entertainment, and the use of well, tank, bathing ghats, roads, and place of public resort maintained wholly or partly by the government. So we have certain challenge of democracy. We are still, the government is doing everything to resolve these situations, but we have to change our thinking also. And as a growing individual, you have to understand that you need to keep the dignity, valor, honor of every individual in the society. So there are certain words which we used here. So let me go through them again. Universal adult franchise. So this is very important aspect of democratic societies. This means all adult in our country, anyone who is 18 or above, attained the age of 18, citizens, they have the right to vote irrespective of their any background. They have to be Indian citizen. Dignity. This refers to the thinking of oneself and other person as worthy of respect. Then Constitution. This is a document that lays down the basic rules and regulation for people and the government of the country to follow. Then Civil Rights Movement. This is about USA. The movement that began in USA in 1950s, in which Afro-American people demanded equal rights and an end to racial discrimination. This is all about this topic. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.